G'day chaps and welcome to my Elite Dangerous Powerplay guide. Now, firstly, let me just tell you what's going to be covered in this video. It's going to be the top 10 things that I think you know about how Powerplay itself actually works. So I'm talking about the mechanics of Powerplay here, and especially how to set your strategic goals each cycle, meaning how you're going to choose what you want to do, what's the most effective for your power. This isn't a summary of everything that was in the Powerplay update. I made a separate video on that which summarized all the release notes, and yeah, if you look on my channel you'll find that there. So without further ado, I'm gonna jump right in. I'm gonna go through these kind of in order. In order, I mean in order of essentially the order that Frontier presented it in. So preparation, expansion, and then control. That seems the most logical in terms of actually going through this. So I'm going to start with preparation. Now, number one on the list. Preparation. The first thing you need to know is that when you're preparing systems, you're essentially in direct competition with other people within your power. Okay, so as you can see here, you've got this top 10 list, everybody knows, and what you've got here is you've got the name of the system, niche in this example, and then you've got preparation 14,690. Now this is top of the list because it has the most preparation, which means that the players have invested the most in this. They've, in this case, for this power, Felicia Winters, who I'm pledged to, they've done this preparation task here, educating the masses, take liberal propaganda from our control systems and deliver them to contacts in systems we are looking to prepare. So that means that the most players have taken this propaganda to niche. Not quite sure why they've done it, however, because it's only going to earn a total value of 3, total profit of 3 CCs. The second one, Mulag here, this one is far more valuable, far more valuable, 167 in CCs. So that is probably more worthwhile. The same with this one, Sunti, 152. Now, in terms of which make the list, this one's pretty straightforward. You can see the top 7 here are highlighted in white. That's simply to show that in terms of our CC this cycle, 1,231, we can afford it. We can afford to expand into 7 systems. And that's essentially all that CC means. This CC is essentially the profit. If you go to overview here, see total command capital available, and so this is your income, 2,335, and this is your upkeep, 1,104, and that leads to this amount being available in the next cycle to spend on preparing systems. That's what it's for. In this case, the last 3 are not going to be able to be afforded, and they simply won't go into the expansion list. Okay, that's point 1. Now, point 2. Something that a lot of people don't really know is that you can prepare any system. So when the cycle begins, it looks like it's going to be a Thursday going forward. What you need to do is you go to the map, like so, and you're going to have, if you click on expansion, you have all of the systems that are currently in the preparation list, and they're ranked in order the same as the list that we just looked at. So the first was niche, the second one is, if we can find it, can you see it? I can't. Here we go, Mulag. So if we zoom into Mulag here, Mulag. Being prepared by Edmund Mahone, Felicia Winters, Zachary Hudson. Now, this is something I'll come back to, but the point I want to make about this system is that the potential profit is 167. So it's an incredibly valuable one. But yes, at the beginning of each cycle, let's say, for example, that you want one of these systems in the preparation list for this cycle. When the cycle begins, you can start collecting that propaganda, in this case for my power, or whatever the preparation task for your power happens to be, and you can start doing it in the system that you want. So this is one that I know for a fact Sunti was not in the original list at the beginning of this cycle, but because of the people playing this power on Reddit, they got together, they decided that Sunti was a very good target. So they actually started joining forces and delivering to that system, and it made it into the preparation list, and now that's going to go into the expansion cycle. So that, at the beginning, the very beginning of the cycle, the thing you need to do is look at this map and decide and talk to the other people in the powers that you're playing with and say, okay, which systems do we want to turn into expansion systems for the next cycle? And you do whatever you need to do. In this case, with us, you take propaganda there, and whichever systems have the most preparation done, make it into the list. So you are essentially competing against the other people in your power to get the systems you want to the top of that list to expand. Now, point 3. Now, if they're for preparation, where's that example from Mulag? Mulag, however you pronounce it. Let's choose here. So, if we zoom into this system, Mulag, being prepared by Edmund Mahone, Felicia Winters, and Zachary Hudson. Now, in this instance, and in this instance only, so if there are more than one power competing for that system for preparation, it's a direct competition. So whichever has the most preparation work done in that cycle gets it in their expansion list, and the other two get nothing. So this means that in our example here, so we have Mulag, Edmund Mahone is clearly going to win this, Zachary Hudson doesn't seem to have much of a chance, and Felicia Winters, our faction, our power, sorry, we have absolutely no chance whatsoever. Now what this means, if you go back to this list, is that every single mission you do to deliver propaganda here now is entirely and completely wasted. Don't bother. Don't do a single thing. There's no point. If it's clear that you're going to lose the system for preparation, every single bit of work you do there, there's absolutely no point whatsoever. So don't bother. Just don't do it. So with that in mind, it's obviously pretty important which systems are being, which you have competition for. You need to make a decision as to whether they're really worth it at all or not. Okay. Now then, point 4. On to expansion. Now, expansion is incredibly simple. Expansion is pure competition. So, in this example here, we have 5 systems on our list. The first one here, Morton Mart. We look at this. This is it's outside of our space. It's not worth very much, but for some reason, other powers have decided that they do not want us taking that system. So the work against us has exceeded the work for us, and it's absolutely clear that we're not going to expand into that system. So there's, again, absolutely no point taking any more cargo or doing any more tasks to expand into that system. So don't bother. This one, all in, this one's slightly different. It seems that, you know, we're quite close here. It's almost neck and neck. If there was a big push, for example, if you get on Reddit and you coordinate your efforts, there was a big push into this system, it's possible that you could win. It is the percentages that count. It's not the absolute numerical value. So here you can see under expansion you have total 18,480, and under opposition total 25,125. Those are irrelevant. All that matters is this these percentage figures over here. So this one here, for example, Zeta Trianguli Australis, it seems quite clear that this one's safe. So in this instance, all you need to do is really watch that other powers aren't opposing this expansion enough to catch up with the 1638 that you have there, and just be really careful about it. This one's obviously going to be 1, and this one's kind of neck and neck too. So all in all, just really try and choose where you want to put the effort into your activities. This one seems quite safe. This one really needs some work, so I'd focus on that. And these two, I'd just maybe put some work into this last one here, just to make sure that the opposition don't get ahead without anyone noticing. Okay. Point 5. Now, it's important to note that all expansion is not created equal. So you need to check which systems also give the best return on your actions. Now, the way to work this out is to go to the overview here, and you need to look under the ethos. So in terms of expansion, yada 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 yada, what you want to look at is here: strong against corporate governments, and weak against communist, cooperative, feudal and patronage governments. Now that means that for every mission you take for expansion, your work is going to have a multiplier if you're doing it against corporate government. So if you're in a system that has a corporate government, your actions are going to count for that much more. If, however, you're working against communist, cooperative, feudal or patronage governments, in the example of my power, you're going to be penalized for the work, so it's going to be harder for you to expand there. So let's take a look here, for example, this one. So for this you actually have to go in. You take a look at the system map, and let's see what we have. Now this one is a federation territory already. The governing faction is corporate, and that's the thing that really counts. Governing faction is the one with the most influence. That's counted as the major faction, and as it's corporate, everything we do here is going to be multiplied. Whereas, let's take an example here, see if this is any different. All in, if we go in, well, this one's also corporate. Okay, so we also get a boost here. Yeah, but you take the idea. Simply look at the government type to see which are the most worthwhile for you doing. Okay. Point 6, now we're going on to control. Now, the thing with control is that all you need to do, and this is the perfect example, the perfect example. All you need to do is to hit the threshold here to 100% and then stop. That's all you need to do. So in this case with the opposition here, the opposition have put an enormous amount of work, enormous, into undermining this system. And absolutely all of it has been wasted. Absolutely all of it. So, God knows who's done this, but they're idiots, to be fair. All they needed to do to undermine this system, all you need to do is to get to 100% and then stop. There's absolutely no point doing any more work at all. Our power in this example has done the perfect thing. They've hit 100 and they've pretty much stopped. The extra 43 is probably because people don't understand. This, however, this 633% above the threshold is entirely wasted. So, yeah. These are very, very strange. I'm not really quite sure why people are doing this. It must be because they don't understand, but with control, all you need to do is get to the threshold of 100 and then stop. Don't do any more control missions. You're completely wasting your time. Okay. On to point 7. In terms of other powers preparation. Okay. So what I'm talking about here is, so I'm pledged to Felicia Winters. Let's take a random. Let's say I wanted to hurt Duval's number 2 standing. I can see what they're preparing here. So they're preparing, let's say the second one here. I think, okay, so 116, it's worth to them. That's quite a lot. I want to see what I can do to stop them preparing that system. So I take a look at their system. Can I stop preparing it for them? Absolutely not. There's nothing I can do. There's absolutely nothing I can do. So unless in that singular case where there's more than one power trying to prepare a system at the same time, and I can't see that these guys have got any in this cycle, so they're quite lucky. No, they haven't got any. There's absolutely nothing you can do to stop anyone else preparing. So don't even bother trying. There's really no point. In effect, other powers preparation, unless you're trying to prepare the same system at the same time, don't even bother with it. There's no point. Point 8. Okay, if we're coming on to expansion, well, firstly, these guys are really lucky because absolutely no one is trying to stop them expanding at all. So, yeah, this lady's going to be doing pretty well. The main point here is that you're in direct competition, and this is the flip side of the point I made earlier. So, in terms of expansion, you're in direct competition. Here's a great example. Direct competition with the power that's trying to expand into it. So you can try to oppose anybody from expanding into any system at any time. And if you take a look at the map, strategically, it'll often be worth you trying to stop them doing that. So I imagine in this example, this is the one where they have lots of opposition. This is because it's very, very close to Empire space, and the Empire want to stop them expanding into it there. Okay. Point 9. In terms of control, this is the flip side of the point I made earlier. If you want to undermine someone else's system, let's find an example. These are all pretty good examples. If you want to undermine someone else's system, and what this does, if you undermine it and they haven't fortified it, this makes it much more expensive to them, which means they have less of this stuff, CC, command capital, which they can use to expand, to prepare and then expand into other systems. You can try to make life more expensive for them. Here's the perfect example. But all you need to do, as it shows here in the opposition, all you need to do is hit the threshold of 100% and then stop. There's no point doing any more at all. As you can see here, this power has put loads of effort into fortifying the system to 1,300%, completely wasted their time. The opposition hit 100%. Each of these, as you can see, fortify and opposition, are cancelled. And to be honest, because the thresholds are so low, fortifying and undermining systems doesn't seem to be doing anything to the game whatsoever at the moment, because each of them seems to be cancelling each other out every cycle. Okay, point 10. The final thing really is that there is an exploit. If you want to, if you want to do power play in solo mode, you can do. And it's unfortunate because Frontier, I really think, and there seems to be a lot of people on Reddit who think so too, that solo play should be split off from open play for power play in particular. But at the moment, that's not the case. You can do everything you want to do. If you want to, you can do it in solo. I expect, or I hope rather, that Frontier will correct this in due course. Yeah, but at the moment, you can do it in open play. Everyone else is going to do it in open play if things get desperate. So, the way I've tended to play it so far is, to be honest, I'll play in open play most of the time, partly out of self-respect and partly just to keep things interesting. It is good to come across other players, and if there's a human player from the opposing side, it can be pretty exciting. The downside is, of course, that Elite Dangerous uses something called instances, which means that it's not everybody playing in the same place at the same time. Far from it. The most you're really going to get to see in terms of other players is maybe 5 or perhaps 6 in the same instance, and that's simply to make sure that Elite Dangerous's servers can handle the load, because if they had hundreds or thousands of people in the same place at the same time, the whole system would break down. So, if you're worried about coming across other players, you could get interdicted, you could get caught out, you could get in trouble, you could get killed. But because in open play you're not likely to really come across many players in reality, it's not that much of a worry, to be honest. And it does make the game much more fun. If you're in solo play, you're playing with kids' gloves, and while it may be good now and again if you want to have more of a relaxing play, you're not really playing the game, I think, in the way it's supposed to be played. Yeah. And finally, just on a little additional point while you're here, I've mentioned Reddit a couple of times. Do jump on Reddit, find the subreddit for your power. All of them have one. It's the best place to find out about strategy, fill in any details that I might have missed in this little guide here, and just make friends with people in your power so that you can actually coordinate your efforts and get some advice. The whole idea behind power play is to turn it into more of a team and a competitive game, and coordination is going to be a big part of that. So with that, I'd like to say thank you very much. I hope you've enjoyed this little guide. I hope it's cleared up a few issues. If you have any questions, do post them in the comments below and I'll do my best to answer them, or one of the other fantastic viewers will help answer it for you. Thank you very much, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Finally, don't forget to check out my Let's Play of Powerplay if you're interested in seeing a little bit of the game and how it plays. And I also explain quite a lot of the gameplay mechanics in that series also. So I'll see you there. Ciao, guys.